San Antonio! Welcome to All Things San Antonio podcast with your favorite realtor and host, Brad Burns and
Ken Carter. How you doing? We're here with a special guest today, the Gus, the Fence Pros guy of Texas.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Gus the Fence Guy. We're out here.
We're out there. Is that your Instagram?
Yeah, Gus the Fence Guy. Everybody knows me by that.
Well, tell us everybody a little bit. One of the things that we do whenever we have anybody on, it is all things San Antonio. So we really like to hit home with San Antonio. Tell us how you got to San Antonio, if you're native born or if you moved here, what brought you here, what you love about San Antonio, and just kind of your background.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in San Antonio, around like the 1604 and Shanefield area. We originally lived in the south side. My parents took us out of the hood, and we moved to 1604 and Shanefield area, which was still kind of a little rough, but it was definitely like where we lived. It was a KB home and a little bit nicer. And went to the schooling on that side. I think.
Was that Brandeis?
No, that was before all that.
Probably Taft, huh?
Well, yeah, I went to Taft, but I went to like middle school was Zachary, and then Jefferson was built, so we went there. And then went to Zachary.
I thought he was young enough. He looks young enough to go to Brandeis.
Yeah, Brandeis now, bro. Definitely not that young. I wish. But yeah, so. But born and raised in San Antonio. I love my city. I travel a lot. Now as the business is growing, you're able to do a little more things. And I say I love coming back here. I really do. It's weird to say, but I go different places, and I'm always ready to come home.
Well, that's the reason. One of the reasons we have this podcast is like we have that same love. Like Brad's native. I was a military kid, and I moved here like when I was still in high school. My last 2 years of high school, and like. San Antonio, there's something special about it. It's like when we win championships, we don't burn the city down, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely have fun though. Yeah, you go hunking downtown. That's the whole thing. If you're a Spurs fan and they're in the playoffs, you go every game they win.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just hunk downtown. You're in traffic for like 3 hours, but it's fun.
But isn't it? Get gas before you get down there.
Yeah. And like people set up like their bed of their truck with like. Big like DJ systems. I don't know if you guys ever been.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you just hear them like jamming out. The whole Mexican Hispanic culture.
I used to work at McDonald's right there, off New Braunfels on I-10, and they won. I forgot which championship they won, but we went downtown. Like we closed a little early, and like all of the crew members, like we went downtown. Like I took the broom. Cause it was when we swept LeBron in Cleveland. I took the broom from McDonald's.
That's funny. That's awesome.
So what do you do now on Fence Pros?
Yeah, so I think about I was around 18, I started working in the oil field. I was doing electrical, and then it was industrial. And then I think around like 21, 22 is when we got laid off. And I was going to go back to it, but unfortunately my uncle was my boss. Well, he passed away during that time. They found him in the restroom at home, and he was gone. So I just couldn't really ever go back, like we did it for 3.5 years and just couldn't go back. And I started, while I was on unemployment, I started helping out someone doing fencing. And it was a pretty big pay cut. I think I was getting paid like $100 a day. And I came from electrical, so we use more of our brain than like physically. And like building fences is so hard. So like I was so out of shape, like I couldn't like, I don't know, we carry posts, and concrete, and I was dying. But, I'm like, this is not worth it for $100, So, I basically told the guy I was working with, I said, hey, man, I got to learn this, and I'm going to go on my own. And so I slowly just started buying, like, a diesel truck. I bought a trailer and started buying tools, little by little. And by the time you knew it, a few months later, I was doing subcontract work. And it all just led to, like, I started my own company during that time. And picked up a pretty large project. I remember my best friend, he's in the real estate, which is Ricardo, and he had a developer, and he's like, hey man, he wants a bid. And it was a 6-figure bid, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly, but I said, if I get this job, I'm going to quit, and I'm going to go full time. I'll never look back. And I ended up picking up that job, and that's what happened. I never looked back, and here we are today, Fence Pros of Texas, and one of the most known companies in San Antonio. It's been a big blessing, and have a lot of supporters and customers like yourself.
Yeah, you
did your fence, I think, like 4 years ago. And it's just, here we are. We're kind of planning ourselves in San Antonio and just trying to make an impact on on the community.
Had you had any like entrepreneur kind of like thought process before that, or because going from the oil fields to like owning a company and everything, it's a big change.
So like I get that question a lot, and it's crazy. So like at like 16, because 17 I dropped out of high school. I was just way behind. I was a troublemaker. I was always in, like, all the ladies loved me. Like, all the like I was always in fights and always getting suspended. I was just always in trouble. I was just a trouble kid, and I don't even say it. What I tell people is it wasn't I was troubled. I was just a lost kid.
Yeah,
that's all it is. I think there's a lot of people in high school and middle school. It's not that they're troubled. They're just lost, and a lot of times you get to know those guys and. Like you'll meet them, you're like, man, you're actually pretty smart. Like, you're actually really intelligent. It's just you're lost. But
well, that's the whole thing about our education system. It's like we kind of dumb our education system down and not like to kind of just a standard, right? Like, that's why we have these tests instead of like finding what kids' interests are and what their passions are and really driving down into those and
to like find out what.
Yeah. Because I think you're the same thing. I was bored in school too. I got mediocre grades, dropped out of college because it's like this. It wasn't interesting enough. It wasn't captivating me. So
For sure.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
And so I think the same thing. Like, it's not that school wasn't for me. It's just what they were teaching wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I ended up like at 16. My uncle used to buy and sell like junk cars. And it's funny to say, like, I never really looked at that into being like an entrepreneur. But like, I had like a two-door Tahoe. It was like a 96. Two-door Tahoe, and I had like a car dolly that we had purchased, and I used to go knocking like the east side and the west side and then ranches. I used to go in random areas and just knock and say, hey, you interested in selling your car? And I'd give them $200-$300, and I go junk it and make $600-$700, take off the catalytic converter, sell it,
Yeah.
And that was when I was 16, 17. So the young age, I think I always did the entrepreneurship. I just didn't know that that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Up until, now as a business owner, I realized that, like, yeah, I kind of was an entrepreneur. I just never really, like, utilized it or realized what I was doing until I surrounded myself with people like you guys and really just started, like, opening. I guess that's what you call it, was you're opening. You find the higher self, So, like, I found the higher me.
Yeah.
And really just utilizing that, so.
When there's something about when you realize that you're not relying upon somebody else to give you a paycheck, and like you can just go make money out of like literally out of nothing, like finding a junk car and then someone willing to buy it for $200, but like the pieces inside and everything is worth $800,000. Yep. Then you take it to the scrapyard and sell it for the metal, whatever.
Yep.
There's that it gives you that confidence, like, okay, I'm never gonna not go hungry. Right, I can always hustle my way to a paycheck, to my own paycheck.
For sure,
there's a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I always tell people, and because people always tell me like, "Oh, there's a lot of money in fencing," and I'm like, "There's actually not. There's a lot more like construction companies that are a lot more successful in the same industry, but other services of the construction field." And I'm like, there's money in everything. Like, there's money in real estate, there's money in fencing, there's money in roofing. Just everything you do, there's money in podcasting. It's just really that if you put in the hard work and you invest in your company's going to invest in you.
Yeah, there's money in
not podcast. There's money in podcasting.
There's money in solving problems.
Make millions.
Yeah.
There's people that make millions.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
not this one.
Not
yet.
Maybe it'll blow up this time.
Well, we needed Gus in here, man. It's like
maybe you gotta change
the ladies love it. Our female demographic viewership is going to go through the roof.
That was when I was younger. I was in high school. Things a little different now.
But I one of the things, like, and I mean, we've done some deals, our business together, and worked together, but like never really like sat down, chopped it up. But like one of the things from the outside looking in that I think is so cool is like how you, for example, are Dave Taggart with the roofs. And like some of these different construction or builder type folks that have taken social media and like get out there and get known. And that's like one of my favorite things, like when the younger guys come in and just like take over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, the older people, like, yeah, they were cool for that season. Like, I'm sure they did great work. But when you're able to come in and make yourself known and build those relationships with people, like, it's just wild what that can turn into.
For sure. It's like it's pretty crazy, and not a lot of people know, and I told a friend, is like, I basically turned my company from 0 to $1 million in revenue off of social media. Like, I had zero Google. Like, I had zero ads, zero Google. We didn't get it till about 2 years ago. So I didn't have, like, you can search this on Google. We literally were strictly off social media, and a lot of people are like...
What avenues? Which social media platforms were you most...
Facebook, for sure, yeah. I'm pretty active, or pretty known on Facebook. I just had it since, for years. And so people are always tagging me, and I would utilize it a lot. I would post, and they'd reshare it. So definitely Facebook was a hit for me. I know people get lucky, not really lucky, but like TikTok, Instagram. I don't really have a good following base yet on that, but definitely Facebook has been.
Well, I think Facebook is good. I mean, it's been great for, Brad's done a lot with it, more so than I do. I'm horrible about posting on social media.
It's because you got all them grays, like it's the age that shows on that.
That's just the old school mentality.
But you know what? It's not even the old school mentality. For me, it's... it's both. I understand the need for it. That's one of the reasons why we started this podcast. It's like it helps me create short form video and put something and have something put out there. I still have my own hesitation about putting things out there, and it's part of it is like because of my age. I think I've said it before, but I was in IT. I worked for Rackspace. And so, like, I had Twitter since 2006, right, or X. And I've had Facebook early, Instagram early, just because I was in that kind of field. In sales, not smart, I'm still a sales guy. And my daughters were like, I remember one of my daughters was like 13 years old. Instagram's just now out. And back then, when she posted a picture, like, and she put her location, like, it legit had a pin drop on my ex-wife's house. And she's like 13, 14 years old in a bikini. And I'm like calling, like just, and so like, that's like my first like introduction. So there is some like, I don't like putting myself out there a lot. I'll do it. You've seen me. I'll do it for a little bit, for a period. And then it's like, just like it's.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. And it's I got to be forced. And that's why I keep telling her, I was like, man, I just need to hire somebody or something to like just just make it go out there.
Yeah, like I have to pay my videographer to do videos because, like, if I watch it, then I overthink it. I'm like, I'm not going to post it, so I just do it, I'm like, hey, he did it. He likes it. That's his, point of view, and I just got to post it. But I do get it. I think that's on everybody, though. Like, sometimes you second-guess it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You're like your biggest hater sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And then you post it, and it's like a bunch of people are, like, loving it,
And it's crazy because a lot of times, like, if you just post the first thing that pops in your mind, a lot of times, that'll be the best one, to where if you overthink it and produce it, make it real shiny and pretty, like people don't care about that stuff. They like the raw, like
yep, they like you.
Yeah,
they want you. Like that's like when you be posting something, like you're funny. I remember I used to post some stupid stuff. And I'd be laughing. I just be watching the videos. I'm just cracking up. But hey,
I just come up with whatever's on the top of my head, like
which is great.
I'm like, I'm gonna just put it out there. If somebody don't like it, that's cool. Like, if they like it, that's cool too.
And the thing is, like, people hate on Facebook and everything as like an old, like, but at the same time, for like our industries, like where it's just a local community-based service industry where it's really relying upon friends of friends referring business back and forth. Yep. I still think it's one of the especially for the ROI. I mean,
you're putting no money on.
You're putting no money into it except a little bit of your time.
Yeah, you can run ads too. On like that's what I would do. I would run ads on my Facebook. But I like figured out how to run ads, and now it's getting a little trickier with like AI because they're doing like there's just so much to it, but. I think, like how you said, friends of friends. And also, I think Facebook is more like a family. So if you don't get in front of, because it's all about audience, right, and who you get in front of. So if you don't get in front of, like, say, for example, would be the people that are looking, say like you're looking for a fence, right? But then your kid is on social media and sees it. Now he's like, hey, Dad, aren't you looking for a fence? And so that's ultimately what it is. Or like I'll get messages like yesterday I got a message. He's like, hey, I don't live there, but my grandma's looking at getting a fence. So it really comes down to like maybe there's certain people that don't use social media, but if they see it, they're gonna pass that information to their grandma or their parents that are not on social media. So really it's just I think it's impactful because there's so many people that are on Instagram or on Facebook. Because like Instagram, I feel like it's more like the younger generation, which is good too, but it's not. It might not be what the clientele that you're looking for.
Yeah, they're not buying fences.
Yeah,
they're buying houses with fences.
Yeah, they're buying construction. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that definitely makes sense. What So your company now, you talked about how you took it from 0 to $1 million pretty quick. What? How many employees do y'all have?
It's about 10.
Okay.
So we're running pretty like lean and mean, I would say. Basically, it's just me and a office assistant, and then got 3 crews out in the field. So it's pretty much like we run like production pretty high.
Y'all are quick too.
Yeah, like we know the process and procedure. That's the biggest thing is
Process
really
and procedures.
really, yeah, like understanding like how to from the start to finish, and really like I think what makes it a little different is that I built fences for many years. I was the welder, I was the fabricator, I was the installer on the wood, chain link, iron, like all these things that I did, and I was capable of doing it, but like really was teaching my guys how to do the same thing and hold them accountable to always install the correct way. And we're human, right? Like not every project is perfect. Don't get me wrong. We got to go back for repairs, but we'll take care of it. That's just the company I am. Like, hey, yeah, we messed up on that one. Let's go back. Let's take care of it. And I think that's what the company or the customers care about the most is really just being honest. Like, hey, like you made a mistake, come and fix it, or you didn't make any mistakes, and that's what they love you and they'll recommend you to their friends and family. So really. That's what we figured out as our process procedures were like there's companies that all over the nation, because I know a lot of fence companies in the nation, that they'll have like double the employees of what I'm doing and revenue wise, and I'm like, why? Like you don't need that many people. Just train your people to do it the correct way. And like if you can do 200 feet in one day, but it takes you 2, well, there's something going on, But yeah, that's really how I took it to the next level is really just figuring out from the start to finish on how to properly install a fence, from the time that, efficiency.
What's y'all's like target demographic for the people you're working with? Is it like residential? Is it commercial? Like what is your, I say bread and butter?
It's hard to say ultimately because like, it's just San Antonio is growing so fast. Yeah. So like I don't really we do builders. We have select builders that we work with, but there's a lot of fence companies that they strictly do builders, so it's like a low pay but mass production.
Yeah.
And then your quality of materials is just not as up to par, right? Like you just have to really find a budget material, buy in bulk, and it's just a different ballgame, right? So we do more of the residential and commercial side to where like residential, what sucks these days too is like when we go out there, we're like, okay, we're gonna give you a cedar fence. And we have to explain to them, hey, it's Alta #2. But there's like 5 different cedars these days. And they're all different prices and all different quality, qualities. But really, it's just coming down to explaining yourself and letting them know, hey, we're not going to install that cheap cedar, but we'll install this one. And so I wouldn't say there's like a certain type of fence we install. I think it's really just all across the board. But I think the like wood is pretty standard. Like it's pretty easy. Yeah. You tear it down. It's not easy. It's just you tear it down, you haul it off, and you go. Chain link. Sometimes you gotta tear down if it's an existing, but usually the chain link, if we're racing the chain link, it has like brush, it has trees, and so that's where like it becomes like a headache. Yep, it takes more time. So really, it's just hard to say. We're kind of like all over the board right now. We do handrails. I would say the custom fabrication definitely is like not a bread and butter, but it definitely takes a lot more time.
Yeah.
Like we do handrails for a lot. About
that's going to
3
be your
different
higher
builders.
profit margin too, though. Those profits.
You can do a high profit margin for sure, but it just takes a lot longer.
Yeah, especially depending on how elaborate it gets.
Yeah. So we do like custom handrails. We do electric gates, but those just take longer. So it's like yes and no. You might make more profit, but if it takes you 2 weeks, when you could have maybe done 3 residential wood jobs in a week, and you made the same. So it's like. It's really just how you want to see it. But, yeah, we just do every kind of install. So that's kind of where it's flexible. I mean, hey, whatever comes my way, I'm going to do it.
Oh, 100%. And y'all have done some pretty cool jobs here, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the big ones y'all? I know you talked about that 6-figure one, but y'all have done some pretty cool ones.
Right now we're doing, it's for the rail yard. So we're doing a rail yard. They keep breaking into their cars. And so we're doing like 1,800 feet of 8 feet tall chain link. That's what we're working on right now. That was a good end of the year.
Christmas bonus.
Yeah, Christmas for sure. Like finishing it off,
especially kids like you were saying. Like this time of year, it's a little bit.
It's slow.
Yeah, which makes sense because like it's for most people when consider like residential and stuff like that. This is an unexpected or unwanted expense that they usually typically have.
For sure. And like with the holidays and Christmas and Thanksgiving, and people are taking off of work and then going on vacations, like, and then the kids are off of school, so they're eating more at home, and just everything becomes so much more expensive. And really, we didn't like this year was pretty. It's crazy to say that this market was like, everybody say it's a bad market, but we're busier this year than we were last year. So it's I guess I'll take it, right? But the big job that you were talking about, which I think a lot of people kind of know me by that now, is we did Lamborghini in San Antonio.
Oh, wow.
So that was like people like seen all over social media, and every time they see me, like, oh, you did Lambo, and I'm like, yes, I did. Inside I'm like, hell yeah. But yeah, I think that was probably out of all I done a lot of cool projects, but I think that one was like...
That'd be like us selling Tim Duncan the house. It's like, bro.
Yeah, that's one of my goals, is to do like, hey, if there's any like Spurs players watching this,
Of course they are.
One of my goals is to like do a fence or do like custom handrails or something for a Spurs player. That's always been one of my goals. But Lamborghini in San Antonio, man, that was definitely a huge blessing, because there's only going to be one of them, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. They're not putting any of us. I mean,
the amount of like luxury auto and luxury just items and places throughout San Antonio is just, it's kind of...
Well, yeah, because before, like...
We're supposed to be a blue-collar town.
Anytime people with Lamborghinis, they had to take them to Austin to get repairs. Like, they'd come tow them up there, and now
That's true.
Isn't a Lamborghini just what a poor man gets when he can't get a Ferrari at the end of the day?
Shots fired.
Man. I feel like Lambo gets like more girls than Ferrari. It's like my buddy, he has a SF90. So we're in on this drive. It was from Houston to New Orleans, and so each day we went to different areas. And he's like, I hate this car, man. And we're laughing about it. He's like, dude, it's a dick magnet. And we're sitting there, and we're about to go on this cruise. We're leaving the hotel. It's like 9 p.m, and we're sitting there, and dude, there's like 4 guys walk up, and they're like, dude, can we take a picture of your car? And he's like, I told you. And so it was hilarious, because like, yeah, you're right.
There's all these guys that it's funny. They want to take pictures in front of other people's cars to act like they're
For sure.
Is it flossing? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, let me put my Instagram in the back real quick.
Right.
You get a shout out. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Watermark it.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what's the plans, like, moving forward with Fence Pros?
I think really it's so what I always say is, and I always tell my team, is like, it's like a recipe in business or in life, right, or personal, is like, it's like when you're cooking, right? If you're cooking like menudo, pozole, I don't know what y'all guys eat, like chili.
Because we're white.
Maybe. I don't know why people eat on soup, but like maybe tortilla soup.
Personally, I go with fideo.
Well, yeah, but that's the Hispanic culture side. But
we're Puro San Antonio here.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's like
My wife's Hispanic, so she...
Oh, yeah, that's true. I did meet her, yeah.
So we're good.
She's like full Hispanic. Yeah, I forgot you told me that. So, like, it's like if you're cooking menudo or pozole, right? Like, the first time you cook it, it might not be that good, but every time you cook it, you start mastering it, right? Yeah. And so it starts from the beginning. Like, if you got to go to H-E-B to go pick up all the product, and then you got to take it home, you got to cut, say you got to cut tomatoes or onions, and then you got to get the pot, and you got to turn it on. You got to put everything in, right? Like, those are all really just, it's your process and procedure is all it is, but it's mastering your recipe. So slowly you start adding people, and like, maybe at that time you only cook for yourself, and you start cooking for family, and you start cooking for large venues. Well, really, you start onboarding people, and instead of you going to get the supplies, somebody goes and gets it. Instead of you cutting the onions, somebody goes and cuts the onions. Instead of getting the pot, somebody gets the pot, and they put everything inside, right? And each time, like, you have your menudo, it just tastes better and better. And so that's really what I'm, like, focused on, is, like, onboarding, like, sales reps, right? And then our operations, just everything, just every time. Like, this year I'm really going to onboard a good amount of people, because I really can't sell by myself anymore. It's just, it's too much. I quickly realized, like, last year I was just being greedy, and it was just too much. There's a lot of leads that I did miss because I was just busy on this lead or dealing with this customer. And so this year is really trying to onboard the correct people that can help me master my recipe. And so I think that's going to take us to really the next level, and also a lot of help, and also where I'm not too busy, and I'm not, because I think I can give, my problem at times can be like, I can give you an awesome product, but my customer service might not be that good because I'm too busy or I'm not like checking up. Hey, I'm just letting you know so-and-so is on his way. Hey, the guys are done. It might take me a few hours or the next day, but I think when I onboard those people, they're really going to help me give customer service and just, just master the recipe. So
do you have any virtual assistants working with you?
I don't. The only thing we do use is it's like a call forwarding. So like if
like Answer Connect or something like that.
Yeah. So like if we're not able to answer, then they'll answer for us and they'll get their information and then we'll reach out to them later. I'll get the email.
Let me know if you want any help like finding virtual assistants doing that stuff. We hire a bunch of them work for us.
Oh really?
But I mean, you can have them do like literally. Like, they can make those. Hey, we got the guys on the way doing this, or hey, we got this going on, to help kind of patch some of that spot.
That'd be pretty cool. I always looked into that. I just never really knew how to go that route.
Yeah, let me know because I mean they range. I mean per hour is $4 to $6 an hour,
which is nothing.
No, yeah, but I mean it's good money for them over there. It's like 3 or 4 times the minimum wage there.
For sure.
And I mean
like
most of them have college degrees. Like
for
they're
years.
Good. Yeah.
They
really
do, yeah.
College degrees and everything. Really,
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, because if you look at it, like you basically like what's that saying? You hire what you don't like to do, right?
Yeah.
So like me is I don't like to do paperwork. Like I don't like to be like in the financials of the business.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of my. I mean, I like to see the numbers, right? Like, wrong, right? I like to see when they're coming in. But yeah, the net, right? I'm like, okay, we're good.
Can I go buy this? I can't. Okay.
Yeah. But like, I really like this year is like I really just want to set myself on a salary and just not see it. Like I want to hire somewhere just like, hey, y'all are doing all the bookkeeping, and I don't see it. But also the same thing if I hire on sales guys instead of them having to call the customer and do like I wouldn't say it's petty talk, but it's just it's a touch, right? You're touching that customer, and
it's not the best use of your time.
Yes.
So if you could do that, like you can have a VA do that, like VA, like there's accountant VAs that are like can help run all that stuff. There's cold caller VAs or VAs that can answer the leads that come in and set appointments for your salespeople. Like
that's crazy.
Let me know, bro. I'll help you
for
set
like
all that up.
$46. Yeah, that's like that's pennies to dollars, especially when like they're on it right away. Like they're, if you don't get back,
they're so on it. It's like they're great in plays.
And a lot of them talk really good English. And I'll say I've noticed because I do like real estate coaching as well, and I've noticed like in different markets, some might not react as well to a virtual assistant because they might have a little bit of an accent. And so if you go to like Middletown, Tennessee, where it's nothing but
rednecks.
One flavor, you know what I mean? Like
we're not eating pozole. Let's just put it that way. They don't even heard of menudo.
Yeah, don't bring that shit up over there. Yeah.
When it's real vanilla, and then you got somebody calling with an accent, they're like, "Oh, what is this?" But here in San Antonio, like we have such a good mixture.
That is true.
Everybody has an accent that's different.
Yeah, it's like y'all.
Yeah. And then they can hop on there. Like, most people don't even know that they're overseas. So we get ours from the Philippines, or ours live in the Philippines. But, I mean, there's also bilingual ones in, like, Ecuador.
Well, we also have ones in Egypt now.
Yeah, now we have some in Egypt as well.
They're just, like, expanding.
Yeah.
Which was funny. Like, before I moved to San Antonio, I lived in Egypt, in Cairo, like, right outside. And they're, like, talking with them. They're right from the same area. They're like, "Oh, dude, you got to come back," everything. Like, they're...
Oh, like, their English is, like...
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Because
the only thing with that call center is sometimes the only thing that works like 24/7, so you can just activate it, and the only time you get charged, like a couple dollars, is when somebody calls. But like some people when they answer, like their English is not the greatest, and that's like my pet peeve because I'm like.
But it's okay because it's San Antonio. Like everybody has an accent or something. Like a lot of times we'll overthink that, but most people don't have an issue with that.
That's true.
We have because I mean, we have a lot of immigrants in this country. I mean, we are a nation of immigrants. Like. In all from if you think about like the medical industry here and the IT industry here and everything, all that stuff, like we just have a big heterogenic or whatever, I don't know. We have a lot of different people.
That's a big word. I don't know, but
that's beyond my pay grade.
Obviously mine too, because I couldn't finish it. I just started. I know hetero means a lot. It's like a bunch, and genius maybe some people.
Yeah, we got the point of it. For sure. I don't know if they did, but we did, so we're good.
We're good. The ones we have in the ones that we have in Egypt, they call around looking for like investment properties, things like that. You do some investment stuff too, huh? I know you did a flip a while back, huh?
Yeah, I did last year. I mean, it was pretty good, but it was. I don't think I'm gonna do any for the next couple years. It was a flip house, and basically, so I did her sister's fence. It was like a $10,000 residential job, and she wanted a fence, and so I went out there, and they're like, "Well, this is our parents' house, and the sister lives here. She's like, she's gonna sell this house, but we need a fence here, so we're gonna sell our two houses, put a fence." I'm like, well, how much are you selling that house for? And we figured out the numbers, and I ended up getting the house, and I invested all the money. The problem was that, and you always hear it, when you hear like a lot of podcasts from like very, very successful individuals, they say you gotta master one thing first before you try to start another. Mm-hmm. And so like what I did was I was trying to master fence pros and also trying to master real estate, and I realized that you can't do both.
It pulled a lot of time away.
Yeah, so not only did it pull my time away, but also pulled out my capital. Yeah. So instead of like investing back in fence pros, I was investing over here and I'm over here, and I'm trying to like make it all work and make, because sometimes you're on a commercial job and they don't pay till like net 30. Yeah. And so like when you pull out so much, when you pick up large projects, you can't tell them like, hey, I can't start that project, so I don't have the money. No, you got to figure it out.
1,800 feet of fence. Like
yeah, I mean, you're talking about like 50 grand in material alone. So like you just got to figure it out. And so if you're over here and you're invested like 80 grand over here, which is what I had once it was completed, I was just like, and when you're not like, when you're in a certain position where you're like a multimillionaire, it's different, right? You're able to like leverage money and kind of move it around. But when you're in a growing phase and kind of where I'm at in life, I have to just be careful and just really just focus on fence pros. And instead of like, I wasn't able to buy as much in bulk because I was invested over here. So it was cool. I mean, the flip came out really good. It was something I always wanted to do. It was my third flip, actually. I did 2 flips and 1 new build on my own. And I think I profited like $40K on it. That's good. So it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't worth the like trying to master 2 different things. And it was a learning lesson for me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to fencing.
And then what was the opportunity cost? You know what I mean? Leveraging that capital there versus leveraging the fence pros, and then your time that went here.
For sure. I'd be like, hey, I probably could have made maybe like 10, 15 grand, been less greedy, and like did like maybe put on a wholesaler, reach out to realtor, hey, just give me 10, 15 grand on it. Right? There's ways you can get like creative.
A little base hits,
but I was just being a little, greedy, and I went that route. But I feel like we all have to learn on our own. Yeah. We have to we got to go through our trials, and some things are going to work and some things won't. And I think that was one of those that it worked, but it just didn't work for fence pros because it slowed me down. So that's how it was on the last flip. But it went really good, It went pretty good.
What's the plans for 2025? How many fences y'all going to do?
I don't know. Just hundreds of thousands, hopefully like 100,000 feet of fence, right? But really it's just...
Is that how you said your goal is like this many feet of fence? Was our goal?
It's hard to say because, like, if I did like a custom wrought iron fence at 100 feet, it might be like $1,000, or I did a wood and 100 feet, it might be a couple grand. Yeah. So it's really just hard to say on footage wise. It's more really just scaling, but also like when you're scaling, you still want to keep your gross margins, because at the end of the day, and that's why I tell some customers like, oh, you make a lot of money. I'm saying, no, I don't. I do it to make an honest living, but in the end, I wouldn't be in business not to make money.
Oh, yeah.
Full transparency, right? Like, I wouldn't be doing it for free.
But, I mean, straight up, like, materials are expensive. Labor's expensive.
Healthcare's expensive.
Like, what's going to suck?
All the other, like...
What's going to really hurt us is, how Trump's trying to do that was it tariff, or what's that?
Yeah, tariffs.
Tariff, yeah, where like he's trying to was it tax on
coming in?
Yeah, well, the problem is we get like a lot of our wood from Canada, and then they have like Japanese cedar. So like if that happens, like it's gonna make this lumber go even higher.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Like I think he's gonna be. I mean, I don't know, but it's not gonna be straight. I don't know if he has specifically already said like lumber tariffs, but the idea is that he's like tariffing specific things that we already make a lot of in the U.S. So like, and so people get like all butthurt, like, oh, if we're going to end up paying the money anyways if they tax them 100%. But the thing is, like, if you buy a Camaro we were talking about Lamborghinis earlier. If you buy a Camaro in Italy, it's a lot more. It's more of a status symbol in Italy than it is here because they have Lamborghinis all over the place, and they don't pay the same price we do because we have a tariff on it when it comes in. Just like they have a tariff on it when when a Camaro goes there. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there's a lot of Italians driving Camaros because it's a luxury system, kind of a luxury thing. Right now, China they support. This can get a little political, I guess, but China has the ability to really support their manufacturers, especially when it comes to electric vehicles and all these other things. So instead of letting them sell them cheap here, would you buy a Tesla for $25,000, $30,000? Tariff them, support American companies making the same product. We're not going to. You're not. It'll make it more affordable. The reason why, it's not what the way that people think.
Okay.
I think it's going to be more.
Saying.
I think it's going to be a bigger boost for overall economy because before we had a income tax, all of the revenue generated for America was through tariffs, and then all the foreign countries were saying, "Hey, you got to stop taxing us," and they said, "Okay, we'll start taxing our people instead." So we're just he's just trying to take it back to the way it used to be.
I mean, you might not even have to worry about it. Trump take over China, you know what I mean?
That is true.
Or not China, Canada.
Canada.
Because one thing we can't.
When it's 51st state.
Well, one thing we can't stop. One thing we can't change is we can't there's no wood down here. Like you can't. We're screwed on that.
He's not gonna screw over American businesses in that way. I don't know specifically if he has said anything about wood tariffs and lumber tariffs. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but in my head of heads, he's a businessman and doesn't make business decisions. It doesn't make business.
What's going to benefit the businesses and entrepreneurs? Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I think that was a very, very good point.
I mean, I'd say I would watch, but I wouldn't have sleepless nights over it.
Yeah, I mean, if
Take
anything,
a
we just got to charge more. Yeah, no,
that's what everybody does nowadays. Just take a gummy.
Gummies don't work well with me. Yeah, gummies don't work well with me. But
That was getting passed down. He wasn't losing sleep.
that dude was passed out.
Well, tell everybody how they can best get a hold of you. What Facebook? How to find you on Facebook?
Yeah,
if
so
that's the best
Instagram
one.
is Gus the Fence Guy. I think it's Gus _the Fence Guy. And then you got Facebook. It's just Gus Hernandez. I think it's Gus Hernandez Jr. TikTok is Gus the Fence Guy. And then really just I'm really big on just helping people. So if there's a lot of people that reach out to me, if you guys need some advice on life advice, or I post honest videos. He's seen it. There's times that I might have a somewhat successful business, but there's times that as men, we have a breaking point.
Yeah.
And there was a time when I had that flip house and I had so much money and I had all this money out on Fence Pros and it felt like everything was just coming crashing down and I had bills to pay. And I just lost it. I was bawling out and I posted a video and it's crazy how much messages I got from people that I look up to. People that are so much ahead of me in business and have so much all the things Lambos and stuff that I wish I had or I'm gonna have. And it was it's crazy how even them are you look up to them, well they look up to you too and they respect you for what you post and they're like, man, you don't realize I've been going through it and I really appreciate this video. So if you guys just have anything that you guys need, just reach out to me on social media. I'm always willing to help. And
that's awesome.
And I think that's the good karma we can do.
Yeah,
right?
that's just the realness of it, just being vulnerable, being real. It doesn't matter how successful the outside looks. There's some struggles inside. Everybody has some struggles going on.
And the thing is, it's more and more people are willing to help each other, 'cause especially when we're realizing that we live in a world of abundance. There's enough to go around. Let's lift each other up and help each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that I see more and more of that. I feel I don't know.
Yeah, I think you just when I first started in business, I used to I pissed off a lot of people. I lost a lot of friends that fence owners that I used to work with. And I think now where I'm at, it's we're all kind of friends now. It's weird to say, but it's hey, at the end of the day, I have my goals, you have your goals, and you have your goals, but we can still just work together. We still be friends, or we can give each other advice. Because there's enough work for everybody.
Absolutely.
That's what there's enough buyers, there's enough sellers, there's enough fences, there's enough everything for everybody to get their fair share.
And not everybody wants to work with everybody, right?
That too.
It's for sure there's people I don't want to work
everybody
with.
likes Mexicans, so.
I like the first one I married. But only for about 6 years. After that,
yeah.
I like my daughters there.
Yeah, so after that was too much. Yeah, can't to deal with Hispanics. You know, the ladies are crazy.
Hey, the thing I said, San Antonio it's a patriarchal, and the father says everything, and the whole family, or it's matriarchal. In the Mexican culture, I found, especially at my age, there wasn't a kind of a let's work out and do this thing together kind of thing. And it's like, man, she grew up in a different household than I wanted to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's how his wife runs the household.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, she's the one that called me for the
fence. Delilah's the best.
I just work.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for her, none of this would be happening in the game.
Nah,
So
just kidding.
shout out to you,
She's
Delilah.
cool as long as the card works. Everything
Yeah,
works.
she ain't gonna bother you. Yeah, when it don't work, start working harder.
What's going on?
We love you, Delilah.
So we always
That's
ask one question as we wrap up.
I feel like he's gonna have some strong
I
opinions on
think
this.
so too. But we always ask one question. We have our two questions. So San Antonio, obviously better tacos than Austin.
For sure.
What's your favorite taco place? I say anything above
Breakfast
90.
tacos or
I always like breakfast
tacos.
tacos. Breakfast tacos is kind of
breakfast? I really would say try. Man, you put me on the spot. It's not Veronica's. It's
Do you have a favorite burger place in San Antonio?
I used to work at Babes when I was 17.
Oh,
I dropped out of high school, so I really don't like burgers. I can make them. Taco Martinez. It's in the west side of Taco
That's where
Martinez.
I go to get my tires, though. I can't get my tacos too. Shit.
That's tire Martinez. Martinez tire. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's like 30 of
Family
them.
running stuff.
Hey, I've been going to the one on Nacogdoches since high school.
You know what's crazy is-
no legit. Like, and it's crazy because like I graduated high school in '91, and there's one on Nacogdoches I've been
Right
going
by
to.
a bridge.
Yeah. And just past the park.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be just you go in there, pay cash. Now they have like their iPad and stuff, and their kids are working. You can see like they've gone like I've literally watched them. Again, the entrepreneurship, like they've been selling tires and doing tires for 20-something years, and I've seen their kids going through college and stuff like that, and it's just
It's like what a business would do. Like,
Yeah.
Like what business will basically feed, or it'll change your whole family
Yeah, it'll evolve.
tree. You know, like just into to live a different lifestyle, especially like when you come from nothing. You know, like really, like that's my biggest goal is like come from nothing. You know, my parents struggled. They bust their ass, but they struggled growing up and really just trying to have a life where my kids can do whatever they want to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
To where they can like go on vacations and they can enjoy. Because like when I go on vacations, like man, there's so much to this world. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Really?
and there's some vacations I can't afford yet, but it's like, dude, there's so much in this world. Like it's so beautiful, and you just like I told my daughter the amount she traveled last year with me is more than I traveled in my life.
That's crazy.
Like
That's awesome.
we used to go to Six Flags all the time.
Yeah.
We had season passes. Yeah, you know?
Back then, though, the season pass was like the best thing for like during the summertime because like it was daycare. You could drop your kids off there and like
That's what our parents do. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
it's
like 11.
five days a week. You drop them off and like it was real cheap. They had the food plan and everything, so you could eat.
Oh, we didn't eat there. They made us eat before. Yeah, that was it. We ate like a sandwich.
Theme park food's expensive, man.
Hey, I worked
Yeah.
at Mi Pueblitos. They used to have a little Mexican restaurant. Right when you walked in, there was like a little Mexican restaurant, and I had to wear the the pirate shirt and everything.
Oh, really? I actually
yeah.
worked in the games department where the screen was.
It was the best. I loved working there.
It was fun. It was fun.
Well, if you haven't liked and subscribed, do it. Make sure to give Gus a follow. Gus Hernandez. Follow him on Facebook. And like you said, if you have any advice you need or looking some, reach out to him. Great guy.
Or if you don't need a fence, you will need one eventually.
Exactly.
Call him.
The Fence
Yep.
Pros.
I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Yeah,
I've
thanks
been
for
watching
coming
it
out.
for a while now.
Appreciate it.
You guys definitely have a good setup, invested in it, and I think you guys are going to get somewhere with this podcast.
To the moon!
Yep, to the moon. Yep.
Let's go.